Making a logo, the next thing you got to do after you've made the object is figure out what font they used, right? I mean, every logo uses a specific font. They're very consistent about it with their branding, and some logos use fonts that are specific to that logo. So for instance, let's take like the Avengers logo, okay? This is a font that is very specific, made by Marvel. You've got to use that font, right? The A having that piece is just something that is definitely specific to here. And they actually created their own font for this logo. But Adidas found a font and utilized it. Now, what's really cool about the internet is I can search for whatever I want. So I'm going to go ahead and use font used in Adidas logo. Go ahead and search for that. And you're going to see that ITC, Avant-Garde, Gothic, STD, Demi was used for that logo. Now, if I go to download this font, because it's most likely not on my computer, probably going to charge me for it. Okay, so they want me to purchase it because some fonts you have to purchase. However, you can see also that most websites that are talking about fonts are like, well, let's download alternatives that look close to the Adidas font. So I'm going to go ahead and click that, and it's going to download Text Geyer Adventure. So I'll go back just a moment to make sure you can get to this website. But essentially, I looked up font and used an Adidas logo. That took me to hyperpix.net, talking about the font and then allowing me to download an alternative. Now, when you download the alternative, it's only on the computer you're on. So if you move computers, you're going to need to come download it and install it again. If you're unable to install this font, that's okay. We'll just find a font that's close to it using a sans serif font. But it's going to download as a zip file. And if you are in Google Chrome, which you should be able to open that, and it's going to open in a folder file like such. This is a zipped folder, a compressed folder, which means these are not usable yet or should not be usable yet. We need to extract them from the zip folder and then use them. A zipped file just means that they are compressing the file so that they can quickly send them across the web, and then you decompress them and open them back up. It's almost like putting things in a package and opening it back up, right? So I'm going to go ahead and extract it. It's going to ask me where I want to extract it. I'll just extract it to my downloads folder and show those extracted files when I'm done. When I do that, I've got bold, italic, italic, and regular. I'm going to select all of those, again, using the same kind of mode that I use when I'm in Illustrator or Photoshop by clicking and dragging across, and then I'm going to right-click and install onto my device. If you can't install this because you're using a school district computer and it doesn't let you, that's okay. Just find a font that's close to it. We'll talk about fonts in just a minute in Illustrator, but we're really just practicing with fonts, and we'll talk about how to use other fonts that we find, especially when you're here at school and we can download and install stuff. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and install it. It's going to then pop up with a little window that's telling me it's installing. Great. And I'm going to go ahead and go back to Illustrator. Okay, now that we've got the font, it's time to put in some text. What tool are you going to use, right? What tool are you going to use to put in text into this file? So over here on the left, there's this beautiful type tool with a T, okay? And I can click that, and that will then give me the ability to type, okay? If I click anywhere and just start typing, it's going to put in lorem ipsum, which essentially is just fake dummy text. We've talked about this before with web design, and you can see that it not only carries into web design, but in graphic design and other places. And it's just showing you what the font is, okay? And we can go ahead and type Adidas. Now, Adidas is all lowercase, and pretty sure I spelled it right. Let's just double check that I've got that. Yep, 1D, we're good. Okay, Adidas. So we've got Adidas here, and when you just click and type, you can see that it becomes a shape style, and we can actually align it and then grab our selection tool, and you can go to the top right and you can begin to adjust the shape of this text. Now, as you adjust it, what I mean shape is, I mean like, are you making it skinny or short or tall or fat or whatever you want to do? But if you hold shift on your keyboard, it's going to keep it proportional. Now, I highly suggest keeping it proportional because logos are supposed to be proportional. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and align that kind of underneath here so I can see this logo. Now, over here on the right, I'm going to go ahead and take this. I'm going to expand my properties out. So if your properties are not expanded, go ahead and expand those. Let's go ahead and move me out of the way. And we have a character option. So when you select the text and you are in your selection tool, you have a character option. Character allows you to adjust each character of this, which a character is just a letter or a symbol or a number or a space or whatever. And we can then change the font, what style it is, how big it is, what's the spacing between lines, what's the tracking and kerning, which if at this point you should have already done typography lessons, so you should kind of know what these words kind of mean. And we're going to go ahead and choose a different typeface. I'm going to click here and you're going to see lots of fonts pop up. Now, this is important because when we're working with fonts in Adobe, you have some really cool features that you can do. So let's say you weren't able to install the font that we picked, right? You can hover over any of these and see what Adidas is going to look like as you hover. But here's the really cool part. Up at the top, you have a filter option. And this is important because when you filter, you can choose what type of font you want to filter to. So Adidas is a pretty heavyweight logo, and it's a sans serif font because it has no tails. So we're going to choose sans serif heavyweight, and then you're going to be able to see the heavyweight fonts that are sans serif, and you can attempt, oh, look at that, Century Gothic is pretty close. You're going to go ahead and choose the font that looks like that. Okay, so I would suggest Century Gothic if you weren't able to install the font. Now for us, the font that they said we were going to use is Text Geyer Adventure. So we're going to go ahead and click this. I'm going to go back to the filter and clear all to get all my fonts back. And then I'm going to go ahead and click in this box and start typing TEX, and you're going to see Text Geyer Adventure pop up. And I'm going to go, or Adventure, and then I'm going to choose the bold option. You can see, oh, that's pretty close to it. Yes, that's pretty cool. Okay, and then what's cool is I don't really need to use the sizing over here on this part because I can just take my cursor and hold Shift on my keyboard, select Adidas, and drag it inward to align it so that it is the same width. Now, looking back at the logo real quick, let's go find that logo one more time. I have the ability to, it's going over to the left and over to the right. So this is actually centered on top. So we're actually going to zoom out a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. And what's really cool, okay, so here's another keyboard shortcut, right? If I click and I drag and I hold Shift, I'm gonna have to do it on the right side and then on the left side and align it. But if I have it aligned and it is exact width of Adidas, so I made sure it was hitting this far point and this far point, I'm gonna go ahead and this time, instead of just holding Shift, I'm gonna hold Alt. And what Alt's going to do is it's going to evenly size it from the center point rather than going from the corner, right? Shift and Alt, let go of your click before you let go of both, and then you can space this. And actually, it sits like almost right underneath it. And then you've got the Adidas logo. That's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know. I think that's cool. But we just made a proportional Adidas logo.